everybody, my name is Erica and today I'm going to be doing a if you like this video game, then you'll like this book video. I did this video I don't even know, a year or so ago. I've done one before, but this is part 2 and I was very excited to do this one. I actually asked for some people to send me their favorite video games so I could actually have more of a variety instead of just the video games that I've personally played. And while I didn't get a ton of responses, I do have a good amount I think for today, and I will be hopefully doing another one in the future because I find this to be really fun because I feel like there are so many people who love playing video games and they want to get into reading but they don't really know what to read. But I feel like if you like certain video games and that storyline and concept, and there are so many books revolving around those same concepts that I feel like it would work. But I just feel like this is a fun video to get more people involved in books, and if you like video games like I do, then I feel like it's a good way to broaden your horizons, and if you don't like reading, that's fine, but maybe these are some new video game suggestions too. So let's just get right into it. The first video game is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is one of my best friend's favorite games, and I know that she loves this game. I don't honestly know much about it, but I've been wanting to play it simply because I know how much she likes it, and it looks absolutely stunning. This video game series is kind of based around customs of tribal societies, Earth post-civilization, AIs, and hunting, that kind of thing. That's kind of the vibes I've gotten. So I have a few books to give you that are kind of based around these concepts. The first one I have is The Rule of the Clan by Mark S. Weiner, and this is, I'm going to be reading my notes because there's a lot about these books. Okay, so The Rule of the Clan is a revealing look at the role. So The Rule of the Clan is a revealing look at the role kin-based societies have played around the world throughout history. So it's also a meditation on human development and explores the principles and cultural institutions of kin-based societies from medieval Iceland to modern Pakistan. So that is the main thing I got from that. I feel like it's definitely more historical, but I feel like it revolves around the same concepts of the game, kind of-ish. It was a suggestion, okay? The next one I have is A Canticle for Leibowitz by Walter M. Miller Jr. And this one takes place in a nightmarish, ruined world that is slowly awakening to the light after sleeping in darkness. So already it sounds pretty mythical, pretty cool. And so this one follows cloistered monks who are dedicated to the study and preservation of relics of the blessed Saint Isaac Leibowitz. It follows after centuries of ignorance and violence, and so that is the main thing I got from this one. So that one has some mythical aspects, but also more of a kind of some history in there as well. And then the last one I have is actually a high fantasy series, and that is the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, which I still need to read. It's literally sitting up on my shelf and I have not picked it up yet. This series kind of follows these people called Ska who were slaved in misery and fear under the reign of the Lord Ruler, until Kelsier, I think that's what it says, is discovered and found himself with the powers of a Mistborn. A brilliant thief and a natural leader, and is going to take down the Lord Ruler to kind of make society better for all of the people. He recruits allomancers who share in his same powers. Definitely more of a fantasy series, but I feel like Horizon Zero Dawn does have obviously mythical aspects to it. So I feel like those 3 books would be a good choice for anybody who is kind of looking for stories that revolve around the concept of Horizon Zero Dawn. The next one I have is God of War, which one of my friends submitted, which I have not played. I know my best friends in high school used to love it. They used to talk about it all the time, and I still never got into it. But obviously it's around Greek, Norse mythology, the Greek gods, that kind of thing. One of the first books that came to mind was Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, and this is basically a new rendition of the Norse gods and their history and their world through Ragnarok's upheaval. So it follows Odin and Thor and Loki, just kind of taken in a new light. Another one that I recommended was anything by Rick Riordan. His books always revolve around the gods in some concept, either as the Roman or the Greek, Norse gods, anything like that. I feel like if you're into that, obviously his series are more middle grade, but still, I feel like it would be a good way to go. Another one is The Gospel of Loki by Joanne M. Harris, and this is actually a first-person point of view of the rise and fall of the Norse gods, told through Loki's point of view. So obviously it's going to be revolving around his recruitment from the underworld of chaos and his exploits and the fall of Asgard. And so I feel like that'd be really fun, kind of reading something with Loki's perspective. I really want to know how she wrote him, and if she made him as quirky as we know him to be in the Marvel films, or if it's a little different. Those are some top books that I feel like would be great if you really love God of War. The next game I have is Fallout, which is like post-apocalyptic sci-fi. That is like the concept of that series, which I have also not played. When I've like literally heard amazing things about it, especially because it's by the same creators of Skyrim, and I love Skyrim. And I don't know why I've always put off playing it, but one day I promise I'm going to get to it. So I kind of have a lot for this, so please pardon me for having to read a lot off this sheet because I did not memorize every single book. But the first one I have is called Damnation Alley by Rogers Ellison. I don't know what just happened. The first one I have is Damnation Alley by Roger Zelazny. So we're following this character named Hal Tanner, who is a car thief and a smuggler and a killer. So he is facing life in prison and has the choice between either rotting away in a jail cell, or he has to drive cross-country to deliver an anti-serum to the plague-ridden people of Boston. So obviously this is post-apocalyptic sort of. And then so doing this would give him full pardon, but on this journey he must face radioactive storms, carnivorous beasts, and mutated scorpions. So basically he either gets to rot in the cell or risk his life doing something that might just get him killed. After like thinking about these books, I'm just like, this sounds so interesting. But so that is just one book. The next one I have on here is Lucifer's Hammer by Larry Nimming, something like that. So, and Jerry Pournelle. So in this book, a comet has just struck Earth and is creating like horrible earthquakes that are extremely powerful, tidal waves, cities have become oceans, and a new ice age has begun, and an end of civilization is upon them. So with all of this, only a few people have survived, and they're struggling to kind of maintain resources and to like not kill everybody because everyone's fighting for the same thing. And so it's even harder for them to live, and it's even more dangerous. So this one is obviously revolving around the post-apocalyptic society, and it just sounds pretty gruesome, and obviously it like revolves around like climate change. But I feel like that one would also be a very intense read. And then the last one I have is The Stand by Stephen King, and this one follows like this man who just escaped a biological testing facility, and he starts the spread of a mutated strain of the flu that is going to wipe out 99% of humanity, and the survivors are terrified, and now they are in need of a leader. So all these books pretty much follow around that like society of, you know, there's nothing left. I mean, I feel like we're like living in it right now. Those are 3 books that I feel like would be really good for anyone who loves Fallout. Okay, another one I have is Bioshock. I don't even know if somebody submitted this. I just felt like I should put it in here. And so this one is like steampunk, historical, horror, and mystery. And I've only played the beginning of Bioshock, and I really wish I was good at those kinds of games. Like, I want to get into it more because it's so creepy, but it's also, I kept getting lost because it's so dark, and I literally could not find where I was going while I was trying to play. I kept getting turned around, and then I get scared, and then the stupid drill thing on my arm, it just freaked me out. Like, as someone who loves scary stuff, I just don't know why I'm struggling with that game. I really want to pick it up again though. The first book I have, if anyone likes Bioshock, is The Curious Case of the Clockwork Man by Mark Hodler. I literally can't read my writing. Hodder? Something like that. And so this takes place in 1862. Oh, this one is actually the second in a series, so I didn't realize that. But it takes place in 1862, and time has been altered, and only this man named Sir Richard Francis Burton knows the destiny has veered off course. And so the clockwork-powered man is discovered, and so Burton and his assistant find themselves on the hunt for these like stolen black diamonds, and on this hunt they encounter these like haunted mansions and madhouses, secret labyrinths, and inner demons. And I don't know, this one just sounded pretty, like, it has that like mythical aspect to it, but also obviously it's kind of like mystery and steampunk, I feel like, with the clockwork stuff going on. But that one just kind of struck me when I was looking for books that were kind of like based on Bioshock, I guess. I don't know. Alright, the next one I have is The Half-Made World by Felix Gilman. There is this war that is arising between 2 rival factions, and the only hope at stopping them has actually vanished, and that is the Red Republic. And they are nowhere to be found. They're the only ones who can really like stop these people from fighting each other. And so an uncharted world kind of lies to the west that is inhabited by the hill people, and they are the ones who live with earth and like its elements, like they, you know, they just kind of live one with the earth, that kind of thing. So Liv, we're following this character named Liv, who is a doctor of the new science and travels to a spiritually protected mental institution to study the minds of those who were broken by the two factions. This honestly sounds very confusing, but I mean, you know. And so among them is this general, this old general of the Red Republic. That general might hold the secret to stopping this war between the two factions, and now that she is there, she kind of has to like make sure he remembers and figure out what she can do to get him like back there to kind of like help this rebellion going on. That is what I got from this. And then I have one last one for Bioshock people, and that is Aurora Rama by Christophe Veltat. Like I said, I can't read my writing right now. I don't know. So this takes place in 1908 New Venice, and in New Venice there are like ice palaces, there are Victorian garb, carriage sleds, long nights, and vistas of ice. It just sounds like this like ice wonderland. And so locals are preparing for spring as tensions with the Eskimos begin to arise, causing riots and drug roundups. So a black airship is kind of hovering over the city as a gentleman of the night, I don't know what I wrote. Gentlemen of the Nighttail are hunting for this author of this radical pamphlet calling for a revolt. So there's this person named Orsini, who is one of the most prominent figures, but also their lead suspect for publishing this. And so he gets a mysterious letter from a long-lost love that drives him into action. Honestly, I'm confused by this description, but I mean, it sounds pretty intriguing, and so it also kind of has that steampunk vibe, historical vibe, that kind of thing. And also New Venice sounds kind of cool with like ice palaces. I don't know if I'd be down for that, 'cause, you know, cold. I just thought it sounded like something Bioshock players would enjoy. So that is those 3 books for Bioshock lovers. And then the last one I have is for anybody who loves The Witcher, which is obviously a fantasy-based game. And obviously there are books based on this series, so that is one thing you can read if you are very much into The Witcher. But if you kind of got done with those books, here are some other ones you can read as well. The first one I have is called The Blade Itself by Joanne Abercrombie, which I've been told to read so many times and I've never picked it up. But we're following this character named Logan Ninefingers, who is an infamous barbarian on the verge of finally running out of luck. Then we're also following this nobleman, Captain Luther, who lives happily, hanging with friends, dreaming of glory, that kind of thing. And another person we're following is Inquisitor Glocta, who is a crippled turned torturer and once Luther dead. And then finally, we're following Bias the Wizard, and he brings all these characters together and makes everything more difficult for them. So I'm assuming that somehow their paths intertwine and this wizard sets them up to kind of go on a journey. That's all I got from the description, but that is one fantasy series that I feel like people who like The Witcher could also dive into. And then the last one I have is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. This book follows the many people who have been fighting an unwinnable war for over 200 years. And there are some born with these gifts, so like women who can call down dragons, and men can become all-powerful killers. But those who are not gifted must fight and end up pretty much dying in the war because they don't have these gifts. And so we're following this character named Tao, who decides he wants to pretty much change his fate as an ungifted. So he gets injured to get out of doing the war, and he wants to settle down with a family. But then, when those closest to him are murdered, Tao decides that his life goal is becoming a swordsman to avenge his loved ones. So I don't know, this one just kind of sounded cool to me, and I feel like maybe one day I'll pick it up, but it just kind of has that sense of revenge, and then there's like cool magic in there as well, even though some people aren't gifted. It just sounded like a pretty cool concept to me. Those are the top books I recommend if you're into The Witcher and have already read The Witcher series. There are also so many other high fantasy books to read, but you know. Someone did ask for The Last of Us Part 2, and I have done The Last of Us before, so go check out my old video if you are looking for other games that you've played and are looking for book recommendations based on those games. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I feel like it's such a cool concept to like be into video games and also be into books, because there's such different forms of media, but it's also like really fun. Like I love that in video games you can become that character, you can do those missions and whatnot, but also when you're reading you're immersed in a different way. I just really love storytelling, so video games and books are like my passion. So that is all I have for you today. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a nice little thumbs up. If you want to keep following me on this booktube journey, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ericagobble. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you soon in another video. Bye!